We have the Barra 250z out today. I want to start this video off by giving a big thank you to the fan of the channel that sent this out for me to try today. To quiet things down today, we're going to be rocking the Donnie Fell Ronin. For our scope, we have the Discovery Optics HD Gen 2 5/30 power by 56. For stability, we have a Magpul bipod. We use the M-LOK rail and attach a picatinny adapter for this. I've been using this Barra 250z off camera for a good little bit, and I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with this thing so far. For the money, this goes for around $450. Comes in bolt action. This one's in 25 caliber. It's a pretty sweet deal. The whole setup is pretty modular. Has an AR-15 style hand grip that you can swap out, adjustable buttstock, and M-LOK rails for whatever attachments you want to hook up front. In 25 caliber, this comes with two 9-round magazines. And today, we're going to be using these AEA Center Punch 33.9 grain pellets. Now for this setup, the max fill pressure is 3,600 PSI, but it does also have a built-in regulator, and this one's set to 2,400 PSI. With the current setup right now, we get about 2 magazines, so about 18 shots, and then we have to refill. And one other thing I'd like to mention, on the front end of this, we did not need a moderator adapter. This comes standard with 1/2x20 threads, so we saved about 10% of the cost of the rifle without needing that adapter, because those go for around $40. Having the threads built in, that's a nice feature. Definitely appreciated. One thing I really don't like about this is we need a fill probe. I don't know why we need fill probes for full-size rifles. This could easily just be a Foster fitting that's fixed in place. I'm not a big fan of fill probes. Makes tethering a little bit harder because these aren't held in place and you can easily just pull them right out and blow the line. I'd much rather have a Foster fitting, but all things considered, it's a pretty minor complaint for this whole rifle. Let's get this thing sighted in at 30 yards and let's just go from there. I want to see what we can do here at 30, and then maybe we'll move up to 70 and 100. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do for this video yet. We'll just see how it plays out. All right, let's get set in. We're gonna aim for center bullseye, but I have no idea where this is gonna hit. I'm gonna aim for that same hole that I just put in there. Let's go for top middle headshot. All right, I'd say we're pretty dialed in. Let's move on to the know your limits target. This thing should make pretty quick work of that first know your limits. Then we're gonna go on to the smaller one. Okay, so that was pretty easy, but that was expected. We have the next one set up. I have 5 shots left in this mag. Let's see if I can hit all 5. If not, I have 3 shots left from the other mag. Ricochet for Stony. A little bit to the right. Ricochet for Stony. Alright, so we clipped it, but we need a direct hit. Clipped it again. There we go, that's what we like. We bullied it so much it's stuck up there now. Alright, new mag. I really want that direct impact. Alright, 10 shots. We got a couple of clips there, so I guess technically I could have counted those, but we want those direct hits. Alright, I always get ahead of myself, so instead of doing that know your limits, I should have probably just done groups on that paper, so let's go and do some groups on that paper. We got 18 rounds. Let's do 6 3-shot groups, and then we'll move on from there. Top right headshot. Pretty spectacular. Let's do the far left line. Same hole. This thing is a laser beam at 30 yards. Let's do that middle right line. Let's put 3 in the same hole in that top middle headshot. I just love this thing. It just eats up these pellets. Let's go for the neckline. All right, well, 30 yards is pretty much child's play at this, so let's destroy some things. I got a couple objects out here, and then we're gonna move on to 70, all right? Up next, we have some pesky silhouette targets down there. Let's go from largest to smallest. All right, let's go try and find them.
Great ass!
Check this out, I found the chicken, but the pellet wrapped itself around the base, and it's like stuck to it. Pretty cool. Next up, we have 2 Dr. Peppers. I want to blow the caps off of them. Should be pretty easy with this thing. Let's go check our hits. This one was perfect. Absolutely direct hit through and through. This one, I think I hit right here, and the pellet just kind of like deflected and blew out the part under the cap. The funny thing with this one though, not much really holding it on, and it's still threaded on there. It's pretty funny. At least I thought it was funny. Last up for 30 yards, I have a vise down there with 3 golf tees. Each tee has a mini cinder block on it. Let's blow up the cinder blocks, and then let's see if I can pick off those golf tees. Well, that was a 3-fer. Let me blow up one of the golf tees. Golf tee ricochet for Sony. Those pesky cinder blocks aren't getting away that easy. All right, let's take off another golf tee. This thing is a laser beam. Last cinder block, last golf tee. There you have it, 2 nicks. Last one finally took it out. All right, we're stepping up to 70 yards, and I'm gonna break out my Ghetto pod. What's a Ghetto pod? Well, it's a monopod attached to a tripod clamp. But if it works, it works. Just don't make fun of me too much. All right, let's aim for middle bullseye. All right, last shot. Let's do that far left line. All right, let's take down a Texas Star. All right, Texas Stars are up. Let's do the pink one first. My Ghetto pod's in the way. Stubborn plates. The finish was worth it though. Let's try that blue one. I'm surprised this is not dropping them. This thing has a good amount of power. Check out this chronograph test and listen to how loud this thing sounds without the moderator. It's literally like a gunshot going off. The moderator is working overtime on this thing. 863 feet per second. Got 2 shots left. There we go. I got 1 round left. There's 4 pizza pans down there in the rack of penetration. Let me fire 1 round in that and see how many we make it through. All right, let's go check it out. First pan. Second pan. Third pan. Almost made it all the way through. Fourth pan. Nada. Okay, I might have gotten carried away again. You guys should stop me. I was supposed to do groups at 70 before doing that Texas Star, so I guess we'll do the groups now. Let's do the top right headshot. Wow, that was way right. Top middle headshot. That was dead center bullseye. I pulled that just a fraction. That was weird. We got a flyer in the same spot where I pulled it. Second, they're pretty decent without the flyers. Alright, let's do that far right center line. Now, I feel the wind pulled that last round. It wasn't really windy downrange, but the wind was, you know, it was pretty decent here. Enough that the rounds are so light that I feel like it pulled that shot over to the right a couple inches. Now, from the range here that I'm shooting down to my target, like, the wind is completely different. And I feel like there's multiple zones of wind where downrange, you might not see anything. Where I'm shooting, it might be crazy, or vice versa. The windsock's going crazy down there, but down here, it's pretty calm. And it doesn't really seem like that would make sense, but with my open kind of field yard here and just living in the mountains, I feel like the zones are just, the wind's just coming from all directions all the time, and it's just like a wild unpredictability that I can't counter pretty much. Now, I feel like I could compensate for the wind, but that might actually screw things up, because when I compensate, if I just held on target, I would have hit versus compensating. The wind is just so unpredictable here that I feel like I'm better off just aiming on target and just hoping for the best rather than, you know, aiming 3 inches to the left and then hitting on target. But with my luck, I'd aim 3 inches to the left and then I'd hit exactly where I'm aiming, and the wind wouldn't even need to be compensated for. I don't know. It's just a wild factor out of here, and I don't know whether or not I should be compensating, but it's just so hard to tell with all the wind changes. We're moving on to 100 yards. I think I jinxed myself a little bit on the wind because I just picked up a good little bit. But let's see what we can do down there. Let's see how far the drop is inside in. I aim for that same hole that I put in there, and the wind is taking about 2 inches to the right. Let's go for top right headshot. I'm not going to compensate. All right, I feel like we're decently sighted in at 100. I didn't compensate for that last group. It didn't feel like there was any wind, and the group was pretty decent and sighted in on that bullseye, so I feel like we're doing pretty good with those pellets. Now, I feel like with slugs, we would definitely increase the accuracy. Pellets, I don't really use beyond, like, I'd say, like, for me, my liking, the pellets probably not more than 100 yards. So this is probably the max limit. Granted, I'm sure there's people out there that can do better than me with pellets, but for my preference, 100 yards, then move on to slugs. But I don't really have a slug that I've tried through this, and I kind of just want to use the pellets. I don't want to, like, let up the barrel and foul it in case I'm using oversized slugs through this thing. Basically, on every gun I have, I measure the bore and go through it and then pick the slugs and go from there. But since this isn't my gun, I don't really want to mess with it and take it apart and whatnot. So I feel like with pellets, we're going to be doing a pretty good job anyway. This thing's a sniper rifle with the pellets. So let's move on. I'll put some sodas down there. Let's pop those, blow them up, and wrap up. All right, we got 4 sodas downrange. Let's see if this 250Z is a diabetes destroyer. Aw. I don't even know where that hit. Oh, a little bit to the right. The wind is picking up. Let's compensate. Wow, still to the right. That must have taken it about 4 inches. Wow. I speak about not compensating for the wind, and then I compensate for the wind. At least it was like consistently pulling it. So that was about 4 inches to the right at 100 yards, and that's only like, I don't know, maybe 5-10 mile an hour wind. So nothing like insane, but enough to drag it that far. Let me do one more thing before we wrap up. I want to put a group on one of those blue steel torsos. All right, before the wind picks back up, I want to do one last group on that blue steel torso down there. Let's hit that left one, aim for the center bolt, and just see how we group. I think I'm going to wrap things up here. Now, I will be featuring another Barra, an 1100Z in 22 caliber. This is another one that was sent in by the fans, so a big thank you to them. For that range video, I'm probably going to take it down range and shoot from there. This one on the 250Z, I kind of want to do a longer range test. I don't really do too many of them lately, so I wanted to break this out and see how well it did at 100 yards. And honestly, I feel like this thing's doing really well. For the 1100Z in 22 caliber, I'm going to bring that one down range, and I actually have some specific targets that I bought for it. Ones that hopefully it won't destroy, because I took the 250Z out. Even at 70 yards, this thing was bending the plates on those. Definitely not my intent. I wanted this for the lower caliber, and I thought they would be able to handle this thing, especially at 70 yards, but that is definitely not the case. So hopefully the 1100Z does not destroy these, because sometimes I intend on destroying smaller targets, but these ones I wanted to last, and somehow I already destroyed them. So hopefully we don't do that any further. All right, I'll see ya.